Hello and welcome to Walker Tea Review, where every month is tea month. The marketing guys out there are telling you that January is National Tea Month in the U.S. Every month is tea month. Every month can be a time for a hot drink. You know, those Kenyan marathon runners, summer, winter, fall, anytime, you run the marathon, come to the end, they sit down, hot beverage, coffee or tea. It's a state of being. It's a state of mind that says a warm drink gets into your body, gets absorbed faster, and can be appreciated any time of year. We're looking at a black tea today, and talk a little bit about teas. And you know, we here at Walker Tea Review, we look at black teas, we look at greens, we look at whites, we look at yellows, we look at pu'ers. We've explored a little bit of everything in our 1 year plus of reviews. Today we have a black tea. This is a Sri Lankan black tea, so it's called a Ceylon. And we're going to go ahead and get this one started. If you are interested, if you see something that you like and want to join us for a tea tasting, you want to go right up above this video. You'll see a green button that says join in a tea tasting, where you'll be able to go and find out about what kind of equipment, like a tea kettle you may want, like tea tasting cups. You'll be able to see an upcoming schedule of teas that we're going to be tasting together. This would be a great time to start, you know, the beginning of the new year, finding a new hobby, finding something to appreciate. Maybe you don't want to get into wines. Maybe you want to get into lots of gourmet type beverages, and just kind of appreciate your appreciation for foods and teas and things like that. So why not take part in that and start off this year with that? But what you're going to see me doing here, if you want to learn about preparing teas, instead of digging around in this small container, I've simply loaded up about a teaspoon here. As you flatten it out, it covers basically the whole teaspoon here. We add that in. We've got our water that's been brought to a pretty good rolling boil. Black teas like to have a warmer water temperature, so that's good. Good temperature for that. Just set this, and we're going to pour until we're about 1/4 of an inch or so from that little opening there in our tea tasting cup. So we'll set this water out of the way. Put our lid on here. You'll notice our lid has a hole so that when we pour, air can enter and pour smoothly. So we're going to set that off to the side for just a few minutes while we talk a little bit about this tea, what this tea is. This is from Adagio Teas. This is their CeylonSonata. It's a black leaf tea. It is from the Kenilworth estate. In the month of December, Adagio has a roots program. And in the month of December, they were highlighting the grower of this particular tea, so that contributions or purchases of this tea, a portion of that went back directly to the farmer. You could read about the farmer's life, about their their perspective on tea, and their involvement, their life in tea. So it's kind of a good way to get to learn about the farmers and the people behind each cup of tea that you enjoy, and give a little something of that back. This being a Kenilworth, a sample size of this, the sample size runs for $2. Now we're going to go ahead and go through a tea tasting together. I hope you're ready to join us. We're going to be talking about the dry leaf, the wet leaf, and the liquor. So when we talk about our dry leaf, here's what we're going to be doing. First off, we're going to take a sniff of the leaf here. Now, first thing you know, the Ceylon, a lot of black teas are known to have characteristics of kind of peachy, mango, you know, fruits that have a hard, nice big core or seed, I should say, a pit or a stone in it. Peaches, apricots, those kinds. And so this one kicks off with a lot of that kind of peachy type note to it, with just a hint in the background of kind of a chocolatey type smell. So pleasant on the nose. When you look at this leaf, and talk a little bit about this leaf, this is your regular wiry, kind of a seal brown, like a grayish red brown, reddish brown. You know, like a little bit of it with a dark chocolate aspect to it almost as far as the color goes. And you're seeing sections of leaf that are 1/4 of an inch, half an inch or so on average, and they've been rolled, looks like they've been wrapped or rolled along the vein of the leaf so that they become wiry. And you're noticing by the size of these, it doesn't look like they are full-sized leaves. So when you look at these leaves, it's not as chopped as finely as some of your black teas from Ceylon are. It's a little bit of a larger size, a bit more wiry in that sense, with a nice, pleasant nose. Okay, so that's the first thing we're going to look at, and the first thing we noted when we talk about our dry leaf. Now, some of you're going to be using a teapot, kind of like what is represented here. This was a gift, and I needed to show it off for just a second. Teapots are good. You want to be able to match a nice, appropriate teapot with the kind of tea. A clay teapot, Chinese clay teapot, of course, is going to go well with things like a Chinese oolong type of tea. Other things you're going to note are with a tea tasting set. These were often, I see them more often used, I should say, with black teas, whether they be Indian teas, whether they be Sri Lankan teas like this. And then, of course, if you go with it like a Japanese tea, those can be very fine pieces as well. So you'll need something that's got a bit of a filter on it, unless you want to, use your teeth to strain out leaves. Let's go ahead and look at this, and that looks like we've got a rich, dark liquor. So we're ready to pour that. Pouring with a tea tasting cup. Handle off to the side here. Your opening on your lid is pointing back here towards it's between, I should say, the top of the lid and the handle, so that you've got your opening over here, which is what you're going to be pouring through. And you're going to put your finger up here on the top of your lid, and you're going to pour thusly. Now, when you get a tea tasting set, it actually comes with a bowl, and that bowl is designed to fit so that you can rest your cup with the lid right on top of the bowl, and they'll hold and stay in place. We're using a wine glass for a couple of reasons. One, we get to all see the color of the liquor together. Two, it's large enough that we can stick your nose down in there as well and get those aromas from that. Okay, so we're going to set this aside just a moment. Look at these leaves as we do so. First off, we do want to get a good smell of these. Now, we talked about dry leaf, peachy note that's still coming out. A bit stronger now, kind of like a baked peach, like a peach pie. That's the kind of smell. It's really warmed up. I'm getting a very, very faint hint of a kind of, like a Pepto-Bismol type smell. A little bit of minty type, kind of cooling sensation in your nose, but very faint, only momentarily was that aroma present. Let's look at these leaves and kind of dig them out. And the way that you use a tea tasting cup, the beauty of them and the reason that they're used by professionals is for the purpose, one, also of looking at the wet leaf. So you turn it upside down, you give it a shake, and unless they've stuck to the side of your cup, they do this. They fall into the lid there, and then you've got a nice display for your wet leaf. As you look at these wet leaves, you're noticing, or I'm noticing, these are not the deepest rust red that I've ever seen. These are a little bit lighter in the red, and you can still see some of the kind of deep green, olive drab type colors on some of these pieces as well. But as far as the leaf pieces, the size and shape go, you are getting sections of leaf, portions of leaf. You're getting some stem pieces in here as well. Looks like some leaves here with some kind of thick vein to them. So that tells you a little bit about this leaf. With the thick vein in there, it gives you the clue that, and the kind of chewiness there indicates, okay, this was a fuller, more mature leaf. Okay, possibly, or most likely not, the very first harvest for these leaves, or the most tender leaves, the youngest leaves. Okay, so takes care of our wet leaf. Let's look at our liquor for just a moment. We've got a rich and typical, I should say standard color, that deep amber, rust red type color. Some of that tannin, brisk, characteristic red tea type smells, black tea type smells. A little bit of peachiness still coming out. Let's give it a taste. You know, some of your red teas, and especially some of your Ceylons, they're known for having a punch. Or your Sri Lankan teas, there are areas that bring out a lot of briskness to them, give a good bite to them. This one, not so much. This was not the strongest briskness. So if you're looking for something gentler, this may be something you want to try. But along with that, with the lower level of briskness, you're also getting a lower volume, more nuanced, more delicate flavor profile. So there's not really a lot of taste that's coming out in this. Body is either, I would say, on par, or maybe slightly below par. Kenilworths can be kind of gentler on the briskness, although this one still is, Kenilworth is not always the briskest tea out there. As far as black teas go, I should say that. Yet this one does not bring the real depth of body, strength of briskness, and variety, range of flavor profile, aroma profile coming that some of them offer. And again, we think that our first clue was that coming from the leaf? Was that coming from the ratio of stem to leaf that we saw in the wet leaf? So when we kind of look at this tea as a whole, we look at the dry leaf and we had nice notes of aroma notes coming off of this tea. Good color coming of the tea. Size of the leaf was larger, which was this a clue? This could be perceived as a clue as well. If it's chopped more, it oxidizes more. The finer pieces are fermenting more, and so you could deliver a brisker tea with finer pieces, finer chopped pieces. And so we saw that in our wet leaf as well. Some of the kind of olive drab, deep green colors still in those leaves. They could have, if they'd been chopped more, would they have gotten a deeper red? Would our liquor then have had bit more punch in the briskness? That's something that we'd have to go back and try this, compare this harvest as it was processed differently to really fully perceive that. So to really give this tea kind of a grade to see how it fares, we gave it an 84 because we were looking for a little bit more briskness. We were looking for a bit more complexity in the aroma content there. So mild tea, here it is. This is what we talked about here was Adagio's tea. It's their CeylonSonata, and we looked at it here together on Walker Tea Review. Come back, join us, add your comments, share your tea tasting experience, and get ready to join us for next time.